When I bought my land in Montana, I was looking for two things: peace and freedom. My farm stretches across hundreds of acres, bordering the edge of a national forest. It's a place where the wind carries the scent of pine, the stars shine brighter than city lights ever allow, and the only sounds at night come from owls and coyotes. What few people know is that my land isn't just a farm. It's also a federally licensed wildlife sanctuary. My pride and joy are two magnificent grizzly bears, rescued, rehabilitated, and kept under strict legal permits. They live in a massive, reinforced enclosure with more space than most zoo habitats, and I care for them like family. To me, they are a symbol of strength and respect for nature. To outsiders, well, most people don't even know they're here, because it's safer that way. Unfortunately, the local HOA had no respect for boundaries. From the day I moved in, their president, a woman named Karen, made it her mission to control my property. She demanded I pay dues for their gated community, even though my land was outside their jurisdiction. She wrote me letters about my unkempt fields and the unsightly fencing I had around the sanctuary. I ignored her at first, but her arrogance grew bolder with each passing month. The breaking point came one summer night. I had spent the day working the pastures and had gone into town for supplies. When I returned around dusk, I noticed something unusual: music echoing across my property. Not the faint hum of a radio, but pounding bass, laughter, and the unmistakable sound of dozens of people. My stomach tightened. As I crested the hill near the sanctuary, my headlights illuminated a horrifying sight. The HOA had set up a full-blown party right on my land. Cars lined the dirt road. A bonfire blazed dangerously close to the dry grass. Teenagers were running across my fields, drinks in hand, and right at the edge of my sanctuary fence, people were leaning against the steel barriers, using them as drink holders, as if they were picnic tables. Inside the enclosure, my two grizzlies were pacing, agitated, growling, their massive forms moving in the shadows. I slammed my truck door and stormed into the chaos. "What the hell do you think you're doing on my property?" I shouted. Karen, tipsy and smug, sauntered over with a red plastic cup in her hand. "Relax," she slurred. "We needed space for our summer celebration. Your land is just sitting here. You should be thanking us for putting it to good use." I could barely contain my fury. "This is private property. You're trespassing and you're standing next to live grizzly bears." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. Those signs about wildlife? We thought that was just to scare people. Like a keep-out joke. Everyone knows bears don't live here." At that exact moment, one of the grizzlies let out a deep, guttural roar that silenced the music and froze half the partygoers in place. Heads turned. Cups dropped. Someone screamed. Karen's face went pale. The bear lumbered toward the fence, massive shoulders rolling with each step, eyes glinting in the firelight. The other followed close behind. The crowd suddenly realized they weren't dealing with props or empty warnings. They were face-to-face with apex predators. "Everybody out!" I roared, my voice carrying over the chaos. People scrambled, tripping over coolers and lawn chairs, rushing for their cars. Some idiots tried to climb the fence, only to drop back in terror when the grizzlies slammed their weight against the steel, rattling the bars like a drum. I grabbed a megaphone I keep by the sanctuary and shouted, "These animals are legally kept under federal permit. You are in violation of trespassing on restricted land. Move." Within minutes, the field was chaos, screeching tires, people crying, half-abandoned drinks spilling into the dirt. By the time the last car disappeared down the road, the only ones left were me, my bears, and Karen, who stood frozen, shaking, her cup crushed in her hand. I stepped closer, my eyes locked on hers. "You endangered my animals. You endangered your neighbors. And you trespassed on federally protected land. Do you have any idea what kind of trouble you're in?" She stammered, "I didn't know." I leaned in, lowering my voice to a dangerous calm. "That's the problem. You thought you could take what wasn't yours just because you wanted it. But this isn't your HOA playground. This is my land. And those aren't pets. They're grizzlies. If you'd pushed them any further, someone would have died tonight. and it would have been on you. The next morning, I called the sheriff's office and filed a full report. Trespassing, vandalism, endangerment of wildlife. The deputies, who already had little patience for the HOA, were more than happy to enforce the law. Karen and several board members were fined heavily, and the HOA as a whole was slapped with legal warnings to never set foot on my land again. But I wasn't finished. I contacted the state's Fish and Wildlife Department, and together we issued a public statement. My sanctuary was federally recognized, and any unauthorized entry would be prosecuted not just as trespassing, but as a violation of wildlife protection laws. That meant prison time, not just fines. Word spread fast. The HOA's reputation crumbled overnight. Neighbors who once fawned over Karen now treated her like the plague, furious that her arrogance had nearly gotten their children mauled by grizzlies. The HOA meetings became ghost towns. Within months, Karen resigned in disgrace. As for me, my farm returned to peace. The bears settled down after a few quiet weeks, and I went back to my routine of feeding, maintaining, and watching over them. From time to time, I still hear whispers in town, stories of that night exaggerated with each retelling. Some claim the bears broke through the fence. Others say Karen fainted when one roared at her. I don't bother correcting them. All I know is this. The HOA learned the hard way that nature isn't theirs to control, and my land isn't their party venue. Out here, the rules are simple: respect the boundaries or face the consequences. And for anyone still foolish enough to test me, the signs are clear and true. Private property, wildlife sanctuary. Trespassers will face the bears.